Big Switch actually has a very unique software-defined networking solution. We actually have taken our page from the hyperscale guys like Google and Facebook and have developed our own network operating system. So as opposed to Google or Facebook that has a lot of folks who have the resources to build their own network operating system, what Big Switch has done is developed a scalable network operating system that runs on bare metal switches and has the precepts of disaggregating bare metal from your software. And so you can choose to actually select Acton or Quanta or, in fact, Dell Open Networking switches, and you can choose the Big Switch, Big Cloud Fabric network operating system on top. One of the things that I think you've seen in the server world with virtualization was this concept of abstraction and getting much higher usability and consolidation out of an underutilized asset. But one of the other benefits is this concept of flexibility. And so the same thing is happening for storage, and finally the same thing is happening for networking, which arguably is the most brittle and difficult to change silo in the data center. And so what you see with software-defined networking, the promise is this disaggregation between hardware and software, and then this concept of fluidity or operational flexibility, where instead of actually having a bank develop an application and coming up with a great way to monetize more revenue out of your ATM system, that could take several months. But the problem today is that it takes months to actually find a window to deploy that application out in a live network. Whereas with a software-defined networking implementation, with Big Switch, there actually is hitless upgrades and this concept of being able to change your network and deploy applications in a much more flexible way. A lot of the hyperscale guys are looking at this concept of a core and pod design, where it's no longer a monolithic data center where you're designing $100 million data center every 3 to 5 years. There's this concept of designing a next generation for a particular application, and maybe you have Gen 1 of your design that will last for 1 or 2 years. Then you can actually think of the next rack over that takes 2 or 3 years hence technology, and deploy that for your next set of applications. So it gives you that concept of not being out of, or keeping up to speed with the innovation that's happening in the industry, and not being locked into one design definition on 5-year increments. So, I think this concept of being able to kind of break down the barriers between servers and storage and networking, and this concept of software-defined data centers really is something that's very intriguing. And to me, seeing all the innovation that's happened, specifically led by Facebook, on optimizing each one of those silos, and then being able to get towards a more fluid, automated approach is something that's really exciting. So that's one of the concepts of our business and what we kind of establish our solution to solve, because we know that the Facebooks, the Googles, the Amazons, there's 5 or 10 organizations that have the resources to do this, and so what we've done is a purpose-built software solution that allows you to take hyperscale tenants for everybody else. But what's different is that we have a general approach that is a little bit more difficult, in fact, because Facebook has a scale problem that they have to deal with, but the use cases and the workloads are probably more similar than a large financial institution. They may have hundreds of apps, and so our fabric has to be very resilient, has to be very flexible to kind of handle multiple different types of workloads. And so that's exactly our value proposition. You can actually get the benefit of these hyperscale guys, but it's hyperscale for the rest of us. Yeah, so basically, a company finds out about Big Switch. It sounds kind of intriguing. We have a lab that's actually a hosted environment in our data center where you can log in on a browser and get access to a live network and start managing using either our monitoring product or Big Cloud Fabric, our Fabric OS. And you can actually go through a module and see what that experience is like. You see the UI, you see the CLI, you see that it's API based, and get a comfort level. You can buy a starter kit that actually is a physical appliance. It's the actual switches, controller, and software with cables and optics that is dropped on your data center floor, and you can get going in a lab or in a production POC. And then you can actually start to order directly your white box switches from, pick your favorite white box vendor, and we will ship you the software. Or we have a strategic partnership with Dell, actually, as of last year, where you can actually order directly on Dell's website, pick a particular switch family, that's the open networking S6000 and S4000 series, and choose the flavor of operating system that you might care for. Big Switch is one of them.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's quite easy to get started, and basically you can start small in a pod. It lives very nicely side by side, coexisting with your existing network, and maybe you want to start off with a VDI deployment or a big data workload, and so it's not risky. It's easy to start small, and then you can scale. I was really intrigued with some of the comments this morning in the keynotes about how the form factors of servers are morphing, and this whole concept of hyperconvergence is something that I think is really gaining steam. So this concept of, as we talked about the silos breaking down, I think so too the actual form factors of network and storage and servers will actually start to get that convergence. And I think you're already starting to see that with some of these early players, like Nutanix and SimpliVity and others. I think you'll see Cisco do some interesting things there. And so I think that there's a variety of players that are going to start to kind of create these hyper-converged units that scale out. And I think that that'll make things look quite different than they do look today.
Greg, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.